Avon and Somerset Police are conducting a review of bodycam footage following the arrest of a man last weekend that left him pepper sprayed and restrained. Garry Buck was in Stockwood on Saturday afternoon, February the 11th, where it said he attends church and regularly goes on nature walks in the area. The 30-year-old was walking with his partner by Whitchurch Railway Path when he said he noticed police officers following him. It turns out that the police were looking for the perpetrator of a potential breach of a domestic violence protection order. They say that with assistance from the public they were able to pursue Mr. Buck, who they allegedly believed was the suspect. Now, I've said this before, that resisting police is a very bad idea, unless of course they are unlawfully beating you, then have at it. But at any other point, I think you should simply be calm and argue your point while recording the interaction. Then, if you remain calm, there's less argument the police can use for using force against you. I mean, it's better to be bruised and make a claim than be dead or paralysed. Now, I say this because Garry made the decision to run, which, to be fair, in this age of aggressive policing is understandable, but definitely not clever. He said, "I started to run and the officer found me hiding because I didn't have a clue what was going on. I suffer from mental health issues and my natural instinct was to run. Now, I've got mental health issues and I still wouldn't run from the police, but we all deal with things differently." When the police found him hiding, they arrested him, but Garry Buck allegedly resisted and was pepper sprayed. He said, "They then started to arrest me and I started to resist because I thought, I've done nothing wrong. Why are you trying to arrest me for?" He was then restrained by a four-plod who bundled him into the back of a police van, shipped him off towards custody. Garry said that the police used zip ties on him rather than handcuffs and claimed his hood was over his face, preventing him from breathing. He said he told them he couldn't breathe, and initially they simply didn't listen to him, but eventually pulled his hood down. Whilst on the way to custody, he says a radio message came through that the actual suspect had been caught. Altogether, Garry was held for some 45 minutes. He said once the message came over the radio, he was immediately de-arrested, adding they stopped in the middle of the road once they realised they had the wrong man and started profusely apologising. Now, Garry has filed a complaint with Avon and Somerset Police and said he is now contemplating further action. He added, "They can't go around treating people like that. They've got to be held to account like everybody else. Just because they're police officers, they don't have the right to treat people that way." Avon and Somerset Police have issued a response accounting for what happened on that day. Their full statement read, "At 2:30 p.m. on Saturday, February the 11th, we received a report a man was shouting outside an address in Stockwood, Bristol, in breach of a domestic violence protection order, DVPO, recently issued by magistrates. Recognising the risk the man presented to the vulnerable woman, officers were dispatched as a priority, but the man fled the scene before they arrived. Members of the public pointed the two officers in the direction he had run, and they subsequently located the woman the DVPO is in place to protect. Whilst talking to the woman, they saw a man looking at them from approximately 25 metres away, who then ran off. Believing this man was the individual they were looking for, the officers followed him and, with the help of another member of the public, found him hiding in undergrowth. While attempting to detain the man, one officer drew and arced the taser, squeezing the trigger so an electric current arcs between the two contact points on the front of the taser. The taser was not fired. The man resisted arrest and Pava spray was subsequently used. Two more officers arrived at the man and the man was eventually restrained. He was then handcuffed and provided with water to rinse the Pava spray before being placed in the back of a police van. While en route to the custody unit, the officers were informed the man wanted for breaching the DVPO had been arrested by other officers. The man they'd arrested then confirmed his identity and he was immediately de-arrested. The officers involved apologised to the man and provided him with their details as well as advice on how to make a complaint. Our Professional Standards Department received a complaint on Monday, February the 13th, and will now review the incident, which was captured on the officers' body-worn cameras. Now let me be very clear here. Garry ran. That's a bad thing to do. Garry also resisted. Again, not a bright idea, but understandable. My main issue here is with the police's use of Pava spray. Pava is classed as a firearm under Section 5 of the Firearms Act 1968. This is the same category as any self-loading or pump-action gun other than one chambered in .22. Any firearm which either has a barrel less than 30 centimetres in length or is less than 60 centimetres in length overall, other than an air weapon. Any smoothbore revolver gun other than one chambered in 9mm, any rocket launcher or any mortar for projecting a stabilised missile and more. So it is classed as a serious weapon, but yet police routinely use it on people like it's nothing. Could you imagine if the police routinely used any of the other weapons just described? They'd be killing people more than they do today. Weapons such as firearms, including Pava or pepper spray, should only be used in life-threatening situations, not situations where you're simply too fat and unfit to restrain a person who's struggling. We see this with tasers too being discharged, not for life-threatening reasons, but because police can't be bothered to do anything that exerts a little energy. And personally, I think it needs to stop. If you can't learn how to restrain a person, or if you're not fit enough to restrain a person without the use of firearms in a non-life-threatening situation, perhaps you're in the wrong job. I will of course follow up on this when more information is available.